Hey guys, welcome back to another Foundry Reviews. We got the next episode of Agatha All Along, episode 5, named Darkest Hour, Wake Thy Power. We got Johnny and we got Sly. You guys ready to talk about this episode and, get into it?
What's up?
What to do?
Yeah, I was really big into the little Friday 13th / exorcism kind of little challenge trial that they had, and
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed the little prior beginning to that of us learning a little bit about who was chasing down Agatha and kind of why. That was kind of interesting too.
I'm happy
Yeah.
they finally addressed it, and it wasn't what I was expecting it. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a cool little detail.
Yeah, they're definitely ramping up the stakes a bit more because they got onto the path and you're like, okay, they're probably safe. They don't have to worry about that for a while, until they get off the path again or whatever.
Yeah,
But apparently they're able to get back. They're able to get onto the path as well, and now they're being chased and very quickly. So yeah, the episode starts off with quite a little chase scene. They do well with the like body horror of these. What are they called? The Salem 7, right?
Yes.
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I do not like that at all.
No, it's very
They are
creepy.
creepy.
Mysterious shit, dude.
The practicals they're doing with like a lot of the I guess one creature that we've seen and a lot of the other just kind of disfigured kind of characters that we see are pretty good, and I'm really digging it because like it's October, it's spooky month, like it fits perfectly well into it, and it's like they kind of know what they're doing and they kind of know where they're going with it, and I'm digging it. I'm really happy about it.
Yeah. We also finally got to see some witches on brooms.
Yeah, which they were
Yeah.
not happy about. I really like that how they
it
were
was
like
really funny.
They took offense to it. They're like, no.
yeah, that made me laugh. I thought that was pretty sweet there.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. So I guess Agatha was allowed to do, I thought she didn't have any magic, but she was still able to do the broom. I guess it's different, like
Because this is like practical magic versus something like that. It's like, I don't know, a lot of the things that they're doing are like, I guess, old school magic that requires like actual
Spells and stuff.
yeah, spells and
Yeah.
things. So like it's not
That's where
same
the
as
team
just-
comes in because he's got his little book.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like even Jen was able to do it, even though that I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was just kind of like I thought there were like multiple people who were there that couldn't do magic.
Right.
Yeah.
But whatever. I guess that's not really the biggest thing, but I just thought that was kind of weird. But who knows the different like categories? I'm sure they've talked about it or mentioned it throughout there. Like very
It's more of a subtle
small
detail.
detail.
For sure.
Yeah.
They're
I
not too
tried
worried
to
about it.
overlook that part. It was since it was such a brief sequence, I was like, I'm not gonna hold them to this one.
Yeah, it was very odd. Yeah, it was pretty cool about so Agatha killed the original like 7 in her coven or whatever people in her coven, but left all their children alive. Their children grew up to be a feral like parentless version of a coven, and they've been hunting her down, I guess,
Yep.
and decided to really amp it up in the last 500 years because now she doesn't have power.
Right.
I guess so.
Did they not want to hunt her down because she was like under the spell of the Scarlet Witch for the last 3 years? I guess they didn't really care, or maybe they just didn't know where she was.
I want to go with didn't know where she was because she's been in this own like little plane, and then obviously since she's not using magic because she was under that spell, maybe that kind of hid her a bit.
I guess
But-
not that well for the teen,
in
and
Rio,
for
yeah.
Rio to find her, so that's interesting.
Still, I hope they
Yeah.
explain that somewhere down the line because that still is scratching my head about that. Like, how the hell did these two stumble upon her just doing random shenanigans? In this quiet
exact
town?
same time kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the biggest of details, but I would be curious if they
Yeah,
explain
you're
a
right.
little bit
Not the
more
biggest.
on that.
Yeah, but as we started, like we saw the blood moon, and then they enter the trial, and then they actually commented on the blood moon, which made me really happy because I'm like, cool, like I'm noticing things, and it's actually like paying off because it's there for a reason,
Yeah.
So which is like
Yeah.
crazy that I'm like, oh, that's cool. I wonder like what the purpose of that it's gonna be. I'm like thinking maybe it's just aesthetic, but like no, they actually mention it and actually plays a part to the episode. Like fucking cool beans, dude.
Yep.
I really
like
like that. Yeah. Just the whole the broomstick thing, I was like, cool. Like, Teen's like, oh, I get one, and then hooking up with Alice to do the little spell together. And I'm like, that's nice. You know, they're supposed to be a coven, a unit. That's pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And then they went to the trial, and it was kind of little Stranger Things, like little outfits everyone had
Yeah.
on. It looked like everyone was in a
Classic
giant
Ouija board.
Yeah, a giant big old treehouse, like or teenagers hanging out, which some of them looked really awkward with like all the younger like hairstyles, except for I can never remember the older girl's name. What is her name? Lilia, thank you. I call her about like 18 different fucking names throughout the series.
That's okay. It's a unique name.
Yeah, everyone was pretty odd looking, except for Lilia. She looked just kind of like an older mom, like fucking sweet. I love her. They're all
She's
great
in the
characters. Yeah, and Teen looked like Steve from Stranger Things, which I thought was kind of funny.
Basically.
I was just picturing that kid that gets slaughtered in the Friday the 13th game, dude. He had that look about him. I was like, yeah, he's getting killed.
That look of I wanted him to fucking die and not be in the show. No, I'm just kidding. He wasn't that bad.
I
This
wanted
episode.
cannon fodder.
No, this episode was pretty tragic, and you got to see a little bit more backstory with Agatha and her mother, and apparently that she was a fucking hell spawn or a demon spawn, where her mother was like, I should have fucking got rid of you a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was really weirded out by the weird roleplay that Agatha was doing with the Ouija board.
Oh, the pretend?
For a very long time. I'm like, that bit lasted way too long to what it wasn't even funny, that it was more awkward. And it felt like...
I replayed it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was a bit or like I missed a detail. I was like, wait, is she being possessed? And I was like, oh no, she's just a piece of shit. Okay. That just, it felt weird. You're right.
At first, I was like...
How was the Ouija, like... Because it happened after they were moving the thing on the Ouija board, right? So was she just pushing it herself?
I think so.
Yeah, she was.
That would
it
have
was
required
a bit.
quite a bit of force to make it move with everyone's fingers on it like that. But all right, sure.
That's actually right, because you're pulling on it, and four or five other people are too.
Unless they're just all gently holding it and just kind of letting it do its thing. Because the second time they went back to the board, the board did its own thing.
It's like they said the spell, and then she decided to do the bit, and then she's like, all right, for real this time. She said the spell, and then it happened. I'm like, why didn't it just happen the first time? They're like, oh, we need to get this funny bit in. It's like, it wasn't even fucking funny. It was still the same Miss Hart joke. Like, okay, we get it. She's a fucking dick. Like, I got it.
Well,
what was that name she said anyway? Shannon Davis? Something like that.
Her name is Sharon Davis. Or Sharon, what's her real name?
Sharon Davies, something. And it was like, why are they saying Mrs. Hart? And I was confused because I was like, wait.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not her fucking
going on.
name.
Unless that was the name she had in WandaVision, maybe. I don't
No, Miss
remember.
Hart was the name that she had in WandaVision. Her real name was Sharon, but Agatha didn't give a fuck enough to know her real name, so that's why she called her Miss Hart and shit. And she was still being like incredibly disrespectful and stuff, even though I don't know. It's weird.
A bunch of other Ouija stuff, though. I don't know if you guys saw some of the stuff that was written on that board.
No. Like what?
Well, I saw one character react a little weird, and I was originally thinking Lilia was going to be the one to start freaking out.
Yeah, with Death. I thought that was very weird. Like she recognized
Death,
them.
Rio was the one that reacted odd.
Well, because didn't we think that at some point we collectively like mentioned that Rio could be Death, or that like Death looked a lot like her?
Theory was right. I think it was right. She's Death.
Oh shit!
I'm reopening that case. She has to be Death.
I don't know, but like they have a history, so you think
they do?
Death is just disguising as her, or she's always been Death?
I mean, it's very possible that she's always been Death and she's just been playing coy since she's known Agatha. But I don't know.
Yeah. It was, yeah. I mean, the funny thing we were mentioning about Agatha being a dick, I guess that's kind of what you wanted to some degree, Johnny. Like you were like, you didn't want a redemption for Agatha. You wanted the villain to continue to be a villain, and she's definitely being a villain.
Oh yeah,
in this episode. She is an absolute piece of shit in this episode.
Yeah, she's a fucking dick.
Faking to be, Sharon, and then also stuff later after the actual ritual does happen and she gets possessed. Like that shit was like insane. Like they did they did quite well. Like they made her creepy. Like they definitely leaned into the like those kind of aesthetics from like movies in the past of like possession and shit. And I think they did a pretty damn good job because I was like, damn, this shit's creepy. Like, oh.
I'm liking it. It's like a lot of old horror film callbacks, but also that kind of environment change like WandaVision had, and the two of them coming together is a really satisfying blend in the show.
Yeah, so what I've noticed with the last couple episodes is that they're doing some interesting, like, like you said, like callbacks to older horror films, like, and each one has kind of a mixed theme with them. So like with this one, they mix Friday the 13th with the aesthetic with the exorcism, like obviously. And the last episode we got to actually see, like, it's kind of hard for you to pick up on, but I think I could be wrong. I didn't really like see on any other videos or anything. I've not watched or heard anything, but it reminded me a lot of Evil Dead. I mean, like, one, you got to deal with the demon and like a deadite, and the camera work as well, how it was like kind of swooning, and like the camera itself is supposed to be the creature, of how it like slammed into the teen and put him through the glass as well. Like that's a very Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, and they even had it a little bit in Doctor Strange too, because it's all the same director.
That's a good catch, man.
And with the Jen's trial, I could be wrong, but I think it has a lot to do with a reanimator. I could be wrong. That's me fucking grasping quite a bit, but I could be very wrong with that, which is like an 80s kind of movie where two morticians like fuck around and actually create a zombie virus and are playing with God, and it's heavy on like comedy as well, with like a lot of like body horror and stuff, which earlier
you might be right about that one, especially because her sequences dealt with that mortician dude, that doctor.
Exactly. That's what I thought. And her dealing with the actual potions and whatnot reminded me of them dealing with the actual like kind of cure and whatever they were creating in that film. But
I think her episode was the hardest to dissect because it was also introducing us to all these other characters and their like slight little traumas.
Yes.
And there was too much of that going on. So like next week, actually, I'm not sure. Maybe not even. Eventually, we've only got Lilia's and Rio's to go, and I'm assuming Lilia's is going to be nuts because those two weird Italian death ladies are.
Yes,
I don't know,
dude.
something about. I'm excited, but I'm also like, I might be afraid.
Do you think we'll see like Teen's backstory at all, or like a challenge or a trial for him? Because I would love
Honestly,
that.
I'm assuming that the next episode is going to be dedicated to Teen, especially with the way that we had this cliffhanger. There was too much of a like, oh shoot, like someone's been playing coy, and I feel like they're going to address that before they hop back to the main story
to finish the road.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the big elf in the room that is dead.
Alice.
Alice got fucking murked by...
But she was trying to help Agatha.
Which sucks so much. Pisses me
like,
off.
What was she trying? She was using her magic, her fire magic.
To cast out the mother. Yeah.
Yeah, to save Agatha. But then Agatha was immediately like, oh, nice. You used your magic on me. Now I can absorb you.
Yeah.
And then just like, she wouldn't stop. And like her explanation was that she couldn't. But then...
It's like a drug for her, I think.
Yeah. But like, right before the end, I can't remember who like stops her.
Teen ran over the Ouija board and he noticed it was moving and called out her dead son's name, which is Nicholas Scratch.
Yes.
And that's what stopped her pretty much, right?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna get it in time because like, it looked like, I don't know, just based on how it was, it looked like maybe she didn't like fully absorb everything.
Because she didn't even get to keep the power when she walked out of it. She's like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah, like flickered. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Maybe
I thought it was like she couldn't hold on to it, so she just killed Alice for no reason. They couldn't keep the power.
Yeah,
maybe, or maybe it means that Alice isn't actually dead.
I hope
Alice.
I don't want Alice gone, dude.
Yeah, I feel like they just got into the dynamic. I really don't want them to.
And her and Teen were kind of getting close this episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, perfect. They've got a friend, yay! And then she just gets snuffed out, and then Jen and Lily are like, well, I guess that's that, bro. I'm like, what?
Yeah, the beginning of the episode of them all getting closer and working together towards the end, where they're all like, we're just doing it for power. We're all doing it for different reasons. She's dead. Miss Hart's dead. Fuck it. Haha, big joke. And then it's just like, whoa, man. Like, I felt so disappointed towards the end. I was like,
they're just doing that to cope. I think they're saying that just to cope with it.
Yeah, just that way they don't get close to each other type of thing like that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The only character that really wasn't even shown during Alice's passing was, ironically enough, Rio once again.
Yeah.
And we don't see her at the end either.
Anytime someone's getting snuffed out, Rio's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, they rarely like show her. Like even during the whole demonic like exorcism thing in the last episode, the entire time I was thinking like, where the fuck is she? And then they barely pan to her for a moment. And I'm like, why is she so forgotten?
She's also not in that end sequence at all.
No,
Like,
she when
don't
everyone's
know
being
where she
thrown
is.
to the mud and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and she
so
was
I'm
not
suspecting
included in that.
she's doing something with that body of Alice's.
Just fucking eating it.
I mean,
She might
did
be.
want
I don't
bodies.
know.
Yeah.
There's something there, but yeah, there's a lot of subtle cues, kind of like the whole like Agatha in WandaVision, how they're like subtly playing at Agnes's character the whole time.
Yeah.
I think they're doing the reverse here with Rio, because I'm confident in our original theory that she might be Death. I'm happy my other theory about the kid was right, but I
I'm
think she
sad
has
about
something
it.
to do with that. You're sad?
Because I was like, I don't know, it just seemed kind of lame to me.
I agree.
I mean, I 100% agree. It is lame, but I knew it. I could smell it.
I was really hoping it would be like either something more random or just, I don't know, like her past has come back to haunt her in that like her dead son that she, gave away has somehow survived and came back to, haunt her essentially. I thought that would have been more interesting, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see. There's something a little bit more to it, because
She went from like very like humility to like, oh, like couldn't control myself, to like, oh, I'm evil and snide. Oh, you're just like your mom. Like evil, coy. You're my pet. Like, what the fuck, dude?
yeah, I guess what I don't quite understand is his motivation. Like, because I mean, I assume it's because his mom died, right? He wants to get revenge, but also
My boys.
Agatha has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I know. She was in prison, dude. It's like, I was in prison when your mom was fucking dead, dude. Like, and getting killed.
I like
mean-
to think it's what they should have done with Wanda's character to begin with. She should have learned from Agatha. Agatha's old as hell. She's had tons of experience, even though she's a piece of shit. And with that, if you could just afford to not die under her tutelage, you could learn a lot. So I think maybe he's gambling that, you know what, I could be her protege, pick up a thing or two, backstab the old lady, and then call it a night.
Maybe he does actually genuinely believe going across the road will give him all the power that he wants, And it perhaps has some kind of vendetta or vengeance as well, because during like WandaVision show towards the end, like you see like Agatha going fucking nuts and crazy against his mom. So if that is the same like son of Scarlet Witch that shouldn't exist, who should be dead, who should not be in this realm of existence, because of the events that we clearly fucking saw on screen and reviewed, like, I could see how he's like, oh, you tried to kill my mom and my dad and my brother doesn't exist because of you, or something like that. Like, maybe has something to do with, like, the family and the weird balance of power. Like, I don't know how he's there. I don't know where his brother is. I don't know where his uncle is. I don't know where his fucking father is. I'm assuming Scarlet Witch is still dead. There's still so many questions right now because, like, it shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I think that's why it confuses me the most, because, I mean, I can't remember, was Agatha the reason that Wanda got a hold of the Darkhold? And maybe
Yes,
that's
so she
why...
took the book from her at the end, and then that's when, Doctor Strange 2 comes in, and he comes to her help, and then he realizes she's been actually practicing magic and actually hunting him down, and she's like, what the hell? Yeah, she was using the Darkhold after Agatha.
Yes.
Right. That's what I remember, but I'm just trying to understand, like, I'm still trying to figure out his logic of wanting, like, I don't know, to get either revenge or whatever on Agatha in the first place. Because again, I mean, Agatha did try to kill Wanda, sure.
Yes.
But, Wanda stopped her, and
I
then
agree. Yes,
for all intents and purposes, she was powerless and we didn't care about her anymore until now. But he was going to search for her in the first place. So I'm still trying to figure out.
So
what
he
his-
knows that he knows that she was put into her spirit like little magic prison of that suburban life
right.
by his mom. So like he knows where she is and why. So I don't know why he's like, let me get extra revenge. But Sly might be right that like he may be trying to go through the road to get as much power as possible, or even get rid of her entirely through the road.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I guess I'm hoping we learn more in the next episode, because after that, there's like, how can you not have a little bit more explanation after that episode?
Yes, I'm very excited. I finished that one because it was so short, and I was like, man, I really want to watch this next one, but I was like, no, it's gonna taint this review for me. So I was, I withheld
Good
it.
man,
and
I
didn't
guess.
watch it. You know? It was interesting. You know, like it was pretty cool. And what was up with the blue eyes with Jen and Lilia?
Lilia, yeah.
Yeah.
Wiccan, he definitely possessed them. He took control of them. I think because he realized if he attacked Agatha directly, she would sap his powers.
Yes, exactly.
But then that makes me think once again, like, dude, this guy knows what he's doing all along. He's totally playing dumb. Why?
It was Wiccan all along.
Yeah. If he comes out with a theme song next episode, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. I'm really hoping we learn more in the next episode, because I'm very confused. Like, the episode overall was pretty good. It was very short, and there was a lot of like
25 fucking minutes, dude, with
a lot of
like
information
probably like
thrown at you.
a 3 or 4 minute like flashback too, which was much needed.
Yes, and like as we were talking earlier, like this episode is what I mean, from end to end, like 32 minutes or something like that, and like it feels like a quarter at the end was like credits. I'm like, holy
Dude,
shit,
yeah, it was like 6 minutes. I paused it towards the end. I was like, okay, like I've got a fat minute left, and then it just like ended. I'm like, okay, credits then.
Yeah, it's all right, damn. So overall, still good, but very interesting episode. A lot of stuff thrown at us for this one in a short amount of time.
I kind of wasn't a fan of that ending because that left so many questions of like, not like, oh, what's gonna happen next? It's just so like many. Why did we go that pathway to lead to this? I'm like, that's what I feel like that's the wrong kind of questions like a scene should get at a person of like, why did we do it this way, and not like, oh, what does that mean for this character and what's going to happen next? Like, although those questions are still there, but I'm just like, why did we go the previous 5 episodes of him playing fucking dumb like that, and why is he even there to begin with if he has powers? Which I don't know. A big IDK on there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it kind of forces us into a weird position of who do we root for right now, and that's, I think, the biggest problem with some of the other shows is like who's the guy we should be rooting for? Because I mean, it's Agatha's show, but we're not like really rooting for her. Like,
Right.
You know, we're hoping maybe things go well and she turns around. Maybe is, I guess, kind of the intention. But like Teen kind of is more of the neutral character.
Underdog
like,
too.
right, he's just learning things. We're learning things through his perspective. He's figuring stuff out, and we're figuring stuff out. So we kind of associate with him in that sense, whether you really like him or not. Like,
Yeah, it's a really good point.
He represents our perspective.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know if he's supposed to be the bad guy or the good guy, because he's like what he's saying is justified. Like, Agatha was an absolute asshole. So like, from like he's got a good perspective, but also he's kind of being a dick to everyone else still. So I don't know how to feel after the end of this episode, and I don't know who I should be like, rooting for, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to get behind. As a whole, like prior, I was rooting for them all as a coven, and I was like, I'm sure that's what they wanted
that's
you to
fair.
think too. Like, oh, hopefully Agatha will go through this big old character development. Hopefully her and Rio get a little bit closer too, and she won't want to kill her. And hopefully they all work together and feel bad for Agatha, and she has to change her heart. And it's like, oh wow, I found my sisterhood with my coven, like I should have had all this time. I paid for what I did, and it changed my mindset, because of the whole Scarlet Witch thing. I think that's what everyone wants to happen, but they'll probably be like a little bit smarter about it, and probably change it just a little bit. Or a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, that's just what, as me, a just basic person watching the audience wants,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that all sounds pretty reasonable.
Yeah. But yeah, another good episode. Like we bitched about a couple tiny details, but I mean, I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. I think that episode probably 7, I guess, for me.
Yeah. Pretty
I
solid.
feel like that's reasonable. 7.
I'm also gonna. I mean, I think the last couple I did 9s, and I like this one, but I definitely go down a point as well. I go down to an 8 because it's short. I'm confused based on the ending, but overall still very solid. I was
yes.
invested.
So I got a 7.5 or 7. Size got 7. Ken's got 8. So I'll leave us 7 and 7.5 then.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay. That sounds good. Well, there you guys go. That's what we're calling it. We're calling it a 7.5. There, our official score for this episode, and I think we have 5-ish more episodes left. Still have quite a bit of the show,
Yeah.
and we still have quite a bit of trials left too, which I like. Kind of expecting, like knowing like where we're gonna go. I really hope that they do complete the road. I hope it doesn't take like a complete like fucking turn.
Yeah, I agree because they set that up as like what they're doing for the show. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see the end of the road. We know so little about the road now.
I also do not
wanna
want
know
some
more.
fucking whack ass flashback bullshit either. I don't care.
Agreed.
I do not want that. I'm so focused on like what's happening right now. Like I want to see these characters and I want to see their story play out.
Yeah, legitimately.
Well, that's going to be our review for Agatha All Along, episode 5. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure to drop some support for the slugs down below in the comments and let us know what your thoughts on the episode too. But we shall see you later on the next review. But until then, bye everybody.
Peace.
Bye.